Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutyam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhauti Naishtiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 28, Text number 5. Maunam Sat Asana Jayaha. Maunam Sadasana Jayaha. Stairyam Prana Jayaha. Shanaihi. Stairyam Prana Jayah Shanaihi. Pratyaharaha cha indriyanam pratyaharyaschendriyanam vishayan manasa hrudi vishayan manasa hrudi maunam sadasana jayaha stairyam prana jayashanaihi pratyaharaschendriyanam Vishayan manasa hrudi maunam sadasana jayaha stairyam prana jayashanaihi pratyaharaschendriyanam Vishayan manasa hrudi.
Maunam sadasana jayaha Stairyam prana jayasam Vishayam manasa hridi Maunam sadasana jayaha Stairyam prana jayasam Pratyaharaschendriyanam Vishayam manasa hridi Maunam sadasana jayaha Stairyam prana jayasam
Maunam, silence. Sat, good. Asana, yogic postures. Jayaha, controlling. Stairyam, steadiness. Prana Jayaha, controlling the vital air. Shanaihi, gradually. Pratyaharaha, withdrawal. Cha, and indriyana, of the senses. Vishayat, from the sense objects. Manasa, with the mind. Hridi, on the heart. Translation and purport by Vishwaguru Srila Prabhupada. One must observe silence, acquire steadiness by practicing different yogic postures, control the breathing of the vital air, withdraw the senses from sense objects, and thus concentrate the mind on the heart. Please repeat the translation. One must observe silence, acquire steadiness by practicing different yogic postures, control the breathing of the vital air, withdraw the senses from sense objects, and thus concentrate the mind on the heart. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The yogic practices in general and Hatha Yoga in particular are not end in themselves. They are means to the end of attaining steadiness. First, one must be able to sit properly, and then the mind and attention will become steady enough for practicing yoga. Gradually, one must control the circulation of the vital air, and with such control, he will be able to withdraw the senses from sense objects. In the previous verse, it is stated that one must observe celibacy. The most important aspect of sense control is controlling sex life. That is called brahmacharya. By practicing different sitting postures and controlling the vital air, one can control and restrain the senses from unrestricted sense enjoyment. Doesn't see Bhakti Vedanta purport. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gauravaktarunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So the various elements of Ashtanga Yoga in a systematic process are explained in this verse and the next verse. Maunam Sadasana Jayaha. To acquire perfection in yoga, one should be silent. Maunam. Sadasana Jayaha. Then he should be controlling his yogic postures, asanas. He should be able to have steadiness in his asana. That's why it is called as Stairyam, steadiness. Pranajaya Shanaihi. And he should be able to control the breathing of the vital air. Pranayama process. Pratyaharas Chendriyanam. After pranayama is pratyahara, withdrawing the senses from sense objects. Vishayan manasa hrudi. Indriyanam vishayan. Pratyahara. To withdraw the senses from sense objects. Then what should the mind do? Mind, if it is focused on sense objects, you will not be able to do meditation. So mind should be focused upon the heart. Vishayan manasa hrudi. And thus concentrate the mind on the heart. So here Prabhupada was explaining about the various details in this Ashtanga Yoga practice. So generally Ashtanga Yoga or Hatha Yoga, they are not the end in themselves, but they are the process in attaining the steadiness, samadhi state. Means complete absorption onto the Supreme. So one must control the circulation of vital air, and with such control he will be able to withdraw the senses from sense objects. So this pranayama process, why you have to control on the focusing of inhaling and exhaling? So that we can control the senses. By practicing different sitting postures and controlling the vital air, one can control and restrain the senses from unrestricted sense enjoyment. Basically, all these processes will make you detached from sense enjoyment. So Prabhupada was explaining about these various aspects at other places. So what is this maunam, silence? Many of us also follow sometimes this mauna vrata outside. What does mauna vrata? To stay silent, but you can communicate with your hand gestures, or write on a paper and say, do this. But mind is still working on communicating. So what is actually silence means? What Prabhupada explains. Silence means that one is always thinking of self-realization. A person in Krishna consciousness observes perfect silence in this sense, because he talks about of Krishna, he thinks about only Krishna, he communicates about only Krishna. That's why he is in perfect silence. Unless one becomes silent, he cannot think completely about pastimes and activities of the Lord. So why it is important in yogic meditation? You have to focus on Paramatma. The whole thing is, your attention is onto Paramatma. Your words are not silent. If your mind is not silent, then how you can focus on Paramatma? So silence is very essential. Silence does not mean one should not speak at all, but he should not speak any nonsense. This is actual definition of silence. You speak only about the Lord. Anything other than the Lord, you should not speak. That is actual silence. Restraining from oneself. Silence means talking only Krishna Katha. That is actual Mauna Vrata. Your voice, which is been given by the Lord, should be used only for His service, not for anything else. Silence means don't talk nonsense. Whenever you speak about Krishna. That is real silence. So like that, various places Prabhupada was emphasizing about being silent. Like for example, when chanting time also, if somebody is talking around, can you chant? Can you focus upon your chanting? Or you are trying to chant and you are in mental anxiety. What will happen? Your mind thoughts will dominate your physical chanting. So what was Prabhupada's solution at that time? If you are disturbed, if you are trying to chant loudly. When a class, when everybody is talking loudly, what will teacher do? She will raise her voice. Everybody becomes silent. The same thing. We raise our voice, the internal thoughts become silent. So silence means, actually definition is, mauna, to think only of the Lord, to talk about the Lord, and not talk anything other than the subject of the Lord. Now the other processes are there. Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara. So what is this pranayama and this asana? How they help? Okay, sitting in a perfect posture. And you are inhaling and exhaling, controlling. So some places Prabhupada, Bhagavatam explains about this process. It says, Jitasana jitasvasaha pratyahruta sadindriyaihi haribhavanaya dvashta rajasvatva damo malaha. So jitasvasaha jitasanaha. One who has conquered his sitting postures, yogic postures. And jitasvasaha, one who has controlled his breathing process. Pratyahruta sadindriyaihi, one who was able to withdraw the senses from the sense objects. Then withdrawing is one thing. Then what is the focus? Haribhavanaya, and bringing the mind away from sense objects and focusing upon the personality of Godhead. Haribhavanaya. Then dvasta rajas sattva tamo malaha. Dvasta means to destroy the contamination which is created by the three modes. Sattva, rajas, tamaha. The three modes create contamination. The material world is, because of the three modes, they create contamination. So by controlling this yogic process and focusing the mind upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you can destroy the contamination of these material modes and you become immune from this material mode's impact. Then Shukadeva Goswami in the second canto also was asking about this Astanga Yoga process. Parikshit Maharaj was asking to Shukadeva Goswami. He says, Rajo Vacha, Parikshit Maharaj is asking, Yata sandarayate brahman dharana yatra sammata yadrishi va hared ashu purushashya manomalam. It's a similar perspective, he says. The king Parikshit is asking, oh my dear Brahmana, Shukadeva Goswami, sammata, please describe in detail. About what? Yatra yata dharanaya. Where, how the mind should be applied. And yadrishiva sandarayate, and how the conception of the Supreme Lord and what form of the Lord should I focus upon? You are saying focus on the Lord, and what form of the Lord should I focus upon? And by this process, Purushasya manam. By this, the dirty things in the person's mind becomes cleansed off. He becomes free from this. Purushasya manomalam. Contamination is there in the mind. That has to be cleansed off. And haret ashu means which can be removed immediately. So answer to this, Shukadeva Goswami says, Jitasana jitasvasaha, again he says, Jitasana, the yogic postures you should be able to conquer. Jitasvasaha, you should be able to conquer your controlling the breathing process. Jitasangaha jitendriyaha. So then, control the mind and senses by jita sangaha, jita indriyaha. By good association, control the senses. And stule bhagavato rupo manas sandaraye diyaha. With intelligence, apply the mind, diya sandarayet manaha, on stule rupe bhagavataha, on the gross form of the Lord. That is the Virata Rupa. So this chapter is about focusing upon the Virata Rupa form. That why this was expressed about focus upon the form of the Lord, gross form of the Lord. Because currently we are not accustomed to perceive the Paramatma in the heart. Focus on the personality form of the Lord, or the deity form of the Lord. Once you become perfected, when you close your eyes and when you are completely absorbed, then you can perceive the Lord. Currently we are not qualified to perceive the Lord internally. So externally you focus upon the form of the Lord. And Prabhupada explains this process elsewhere in various places. The yoga system for meditation, which includes sitting posture, breathing process, fixing the mind on the Supreme, is prescribed in order to mold the character of a gross materialist. Person who is very much indulging in sense gratification, gross materialist, to reform him to the character, this process is prescribed. For whom is this Ashtanga Yoga process? For a person who from gross materialistic perspective, to turn him into, his character has to be refined. Practice of these asanas without elevating oneself to the position of realizing the super soul is not the perfectional stage of yoga. Outside world, the word definition of yoga means various sitting postures. It's just the sitting postures. The perfection of yoga is yoga indriya samyama, to control the senses and to focus upon the personality of God, to reach the stage of Paramatma, complete samadhi. Not just making bodily fit by doing these yoga asanas. After practicing the yoga asana for mystic yoga, the prachetas managed to control their life air, mind, words and external vision. And by the pranayama process, they were completely relieved of material attachment. So all these processes, asanas and this pranayama, will help us to come out of the process of material attachment, because we are too much engrossed into this matter. The first attachment to this matter is body. I am this body. I am very much attached to this body. So I have to detach myself from these bodily attachments. So this process will help us to come out of this attachment. The senses are very restless, going this way and that way with the mind. But by the Ashtanga Yoga system, by the sitting posture, by breathing process and so on, one can control the senses and concentrate the mind on the form of the Lord Vishnu. So this is the practical process. The Hatha Yoga system means by different practices of asana, breathing process, all these means concentrating myself, focusing my attention to the super soul. So these are the process in the systematic way where we can come to the stage of samadhi or complete absorption onto the Vishnu. Like for example, we hear many times when you are drinking water, generally they recommend you sit and drink water. We don't stand and drink water. Why? Is there any reason, technical reason behind that? Is there any reason? So in Ayurvedic perspective of life, when you drink in that particular position, when you sit and drink, it has a medicinal benefit. It does not destroy or directly it does not impact upon the senses within the body. So similarly, somebody has come up with an idea, some materialistic person. So they say when they drink liquor, alcohol, the liver will be impacted. The first thing is liver gets impacted, then other organs will go away. He's saying you sit in such a direction, bend your head in such an angle. When you drink liquor, it will bypass the liver and go inside directly the stomach. And you will not have any problem. So they are finding means and ways how to see this as a positive perspective for them. Asanas will help you. Even if you drink liquor, it will not destroy your body. And somebody came up with a different, more explanation. When you say you drink alcohol, what does this word drink means? They are giving abbreviation for that. When you drink, the first peg when you drink, it will help your digestion. That's why it is called as D. Drink. When you drink the second peg, it will relax your mind. That's why R. When you take the third peg, it will make you intelligent. That's why I. When you take the fourth peg, it will make you naughty. That's why N. When you take the fifth peg, you become Raja of this world. That's why king. That's why it is called as drink. See, they are all encouraging people so you can drink. See, this is material perspectives that will make you attached to that subject, sense object. But Shastric way is not like that, trying to find out means and ways how to become attached to sense objects. We should find means and ways how to come out of the sense enjoyment. Like earlier, yogis used to go to forest because to go away from diversions. And maximum, what are their positions? They used to carry danda and kamandalu. For focusing upon the kamandalu, will be with a water, and danda, a hand resting posture, so that helps them in their meditation perspective. So there are basic situations like prescribed to them. Eat in this format. Like Dhruva Maharaj did tapasya. He ate fruits and vegetables. Then extreme level, he drank water. Then extreme level, ate only dry leaves. Then next extreme level, only inhaling air. So there are various stages of this tapasya in this Ashtanga Yoga process also. Then something about pranayama, controlling the breathing process, Prabhupada explains. The mystic yoga practice called pranayama, the yogi controls the air within the body to maintain the body in a healthy condition. There are 5 kinds of air which are rotating within our body. Prana, apana, udana, vyana, sabana. These 5 airs maintain the bodily equilibrium. When there is no sufficient intake of oxygen, do you feel comfortable? Like if you sit too much in an AC room, or when you travel too much in a car for a long distance, you start feeling headache. You start feeling restless. Because the oxygen levels are not very conducive in that atmosphere. The air condition system only circulates the air within the room. So when the oxygen gets over, it starts suffocating. So this pranayama process will enhance your proper breathing system. So good oxygen means good burning in the fire in the stomach, and good life air will be supplied to all the organs in the body, and one will be able to manage the body in a perfect situation, healthy situation. The purpose of pranayama is to stop the mind and senses from engaging in fruitive activities. So this is one more definition. The aim of pranayama is not to make the body strong and fit for work hard. The aim is to worship the Lord. Because when you come to the samadhi state, where you will be completely focusing upon the Lord, and for many, many days or many, many months or years, they will be completely absorbed onto the Supreme. So their mind should not be deviated. So this will help them in the process of fixing upon the performance on the Lord. The pranayama is concerned, chanting of the holy name of the Lord and dancing in ecstasy are also considered pranayama. How it is pranayama? Chanting is pranayama. Because when you are chanting, you are fixed where to inhale and where to exhale. Because when you are trying to chant 16 rounds or 64 rounds, so you know the process, because if you keep taking too many breaks of this inhaling and exhaling, so your chanting will get disturbed. So you know, after one full mantra, you inhale and exhale. So that is also a process of pranayama. The actual aim is to strengthen the mind and senses in order to engage them in devotional service. So this is their actual aim. This pranayama process strengthens the mind, manobala. Like when you are fixed up in your chanting, will you get diverted by diversions? You'll try to focus upon your chanting. That fixation comes by this pranayama process. This pranayama system, where a perfect yogi, they control the pranavayu in such a way that by their sweet will they can transfer themselves to the different planet systems. So in this Ashtanga Yoga system, the perfection is when they raise their life air, that Shat chakras within the body. From the Nabi, it has to rise up to the Brahma Kapala. Jai Sri Sri Radha Govinda. And from the Brahma Kapala, because of his concentration of the mind, he can transfer himself. So there are yogis of two categories. One is materialistic yogi, who is achieving perfection in matter, Ashta Siddhis. Then there are devotees who are achieving perfection in the Paramatma. So these materialistic people, their attention might be to travel to higher planetary systems. So by this focusing upon the air, and they can, along with the air of this life air, they transfer themselves to different planets in this material world. So even for them, this focusing upon the mind and this pranayama process is very helpful. So in devotees' lives, this practice of these various elements are part of it. Like when you sit in front of the deity, just focusing upon the Lord, this is samadhi state. When you are in the kirtan, not diverting yourself from any other place, that is samadhi. Or when you are chanting completely with not bothered of any external situation, that is samadhi. Or when you are reading focusingly upon some subject, that is samadhi. When you are sitting in the Bhagavatam class, you are trying to focus upon the point, what is being communicated, that is samadhi. So all these things, process and all, will help us in understanding the Supreme Lord. So there was one devotee by name Tripura Das. He was from Braj area, place called Sherga. His father was a royal minister of the local king. And from very young age, this boy was very much detached from matter and very much attached to the Lord. All good character, good behavior, a saintly personality. So once his father took him to Vrindavan and they went for Govardhan Parikrama. So when they went to Govardhan Parikrama, they saw the deity of Srinathji there, the Gopala deity. So he became very much fascinated by the deity. So he became determined that he wants to stay near the deity and have the daily darshan. He did not want to go with his father also back. Seeing this boy's intention, the father kept him at some relative's place, thinking he can stay for a few days, later he will come back. So assuring the boy also the safety, and he went back to his town. But in the process, when he went back, he was attacked by enemies and he was killed. He lost his life. So boy became shattered. So every day he used to come in front of the deity. He used to cry. He used to pray to Srinathji, you have taken away my father. Now you are only my father, friend and guide, philosopher, everything and all. He used to sit in front of the deity and he used to pray to the deity and he used to cry tears. By seeing the beauty of the Lord, by thinking that he is the only shelter for him. And all the people, nearby people, all the known people, they used to feel pity for him, seeing his situation. So one day, when he was there in the temple and he was crying and sitting in the corner and just focusing upon the deity, and tears were rolling from his eyes, Vallabhacharya came to the darshan to have the deity darshan. So Vallabhacharya, when he saw the boy, he started inquiring, who is this boy? Why is he crying? Then the other disciples explained about his situation, how his father was killed and how he came from a royal family, but now he is alone. So seeing Vallabhacharya also, that boy also came and forward and paid obeisance, and he said, my dear sir, Lord is only my shelter. He is only my father. So from today I am offering myself unto you. Please guide me how to attain him. So Vallabhacharya took care of him, started training him in devotional aspects, and he started guiding him about philosophical subjects. So after being trained for some days, when he grew up little older, Vallabhacharya sent him to his father's place, and he said, you can continue by staying in your place and following your respective dharma. You are a Kshatriya. So follow your duty and simultaneously worship the Lord also. So reluctantly, because it is the order of the spiritual master, he went back to his town. And because of his nature, of his good qualities, he was again appointed in his father's post, the royal minister. So he had kept one deity in his house and he started worshipping the deity. And every day, any saint who was passing by that village, they used to call him to his house and he used to feed them. The deity worship was going on, kirtan bhajan was going on, and he was so engaged. He was supporting needy people, necessity people, elderly people. He was taking care of them in whatever way he could. And he was perfectly executing his royal duties also. He was very happily engaged. And every year he had kept one commitment. During winter, he used to supply beautiful cloths, winter cloths for the deity, Srinath. So every year, he used to make fine jewelry, dress, woolen sweaters and everything and all. And he used to send to the deity, Srinath. And the deity when the deity was adorned with that cloths, the Lord used to smile. The Lord was expressing his joy because of the offerings made by his devotees. So one particular situation, see how devotional elements happen, when devotees become more and more popular, there will be antagonist people who doesn't like the situation, atheistic people. They all went and complained to the king, this person is misutilizing his royal position. He is exploiting the treasury. He is using state funds to feed people. So the king became carried away by their accusations and immediately confiscated his entire property. And left him, no utensil was there in the house also. Everything was taken away. So he was left with some bare cloths, some few very minimum clothes. But still he never felt any bad. He said, it is all Lord's doing. How he wants me, I am ready to suffer for anything. But for the service of the Lord, I don't want to miss the opportunity. So that year, again, it's time for winter season and he was thinking what to do now. There is nothing where I could afford to the Lord. He was thinking, I have taken this as a commitment that every year I will send some clothes to the Lord. But this year I am thinking I am not able to fulfill my desire. What is the point of staying alive? Then suddenly he glanced upon one ink pot in his house. He thought this will be of some value. He took to the store. He sold that ink pot for 1 rupee. With that 1 rupee, he went to some cloth shop. He purchased some simple white cloth. He brought it home. He colored that cloth into red color and he dried that cloth. But in the entire process, he was thinking, this cloth is useless. This cloth was not even fit for some sadhus to wear. My dear Lord, please forgive me. This is the only thing which I could afford now. And he was all contemplating whether I should send this cloth or not. So accidentally, one of the servants of the deity was passing by that village. So immediately, Tripardas recognized him, brought him to his home, made him sit, gave him a glass of water. So then brought this cloth and handed over to him and he said, my dear sir, please take this cloth and inform the storeman that this is my offering for this year, and let him use this as he likes. And do not communicate to him about my situation. So this sadhu took the cloth, went to the temple, and informed the storekeeper that this cloth was sent by so and so. And seeing his dire situation, he explained to him how poverty stricken he was and everything, what the king had done, or everything and all, everything details. The storekeeper received it respectfully. Since it is not fit for using to the deity, he kept it in a room to cover other valuable cloths. He used to use that as a covering cloth. So this time the winter has come, the deity was adorned with all the winter cloths and all. So one day when Vallabhacharya's son Vittalnath had come in front of the deity started saying, I am feeling very cold. So then immediately the special cloths which were very high quality wool, everything was which were there in the store was brought and offered to the deity. Deity was adorned, but still the Lord said, no, I am still feeling cold. Then a wooden fire was lit in front of the deity, and he said, my dear Lord, now you should not feel cold. But the Lord said, no, I am still feeling cold. Then the devotee asked, I have put you the best of woolen clothes and I have given you the campfire, everything and all, but still you are saying. So he was thinking, please explain to me, is there anything which I need? Then he sat down, he started contemplating, why is Lord behaving in this way? Maybe some offense would have happened. Somebody would have sent a cloth, and Lord is planning in such a way that some devotee's devotion has been affected in the process. So he immediately asked the storekeeper to bring the book, register. So then he started seeing every year who are the devotees, who is to send the cloth and who have sent, who had not sent. And this person's name was not there. Tripurdas' name was not there. Then he asked, did Tripurdas send this year cloth? They were hesitating to say, but then the Sadhu, Swamiji asked, has he sent or not? Yes, he had sent, but he had sent some plain red cloth, which was not fit to the deities. That's why I am using it as a covering cloth. Then immediately he understood it was a Lord's Leela. Immediately called the tailor and he made one beautiful dress to be made out of that cloth. And when this dress was made, put to the Lord started smiling. He was very happy. He was very joyful. He said, now my cold is gone. So in this way, how Lord acts for different devotees' purpose. So Vittalnath ji could also understand how the Lord was feeling that shivering. So Lord, how he fulfills the desires of the devotees. Similarly, devotees for us, our only hope is Prabhupada. This was one real life recollection. There were two Matajis who were all associates or friends. So around in 1995 or somewhere, they were in the western part, US part and all, US and European parts. So on the day of Narasimha Jayanti, one devotee, one female Mataji got to know that she was having cancer. And very soon, she may have to pass away or she had to go through the process of chemotherapy and other treatments and all. So she came and she informed the other friend that I have been adjudged with cancer. Immediately I have to report for medication. But the devotee in charge there, he was saying, don't bother for these bodily necessities and all. Because body is Naswara, it is about to die. Till the last moment, whatever time you have, you engage in the service of the Lord. Don't get carried away with these material diseases and all these things and all. So he is asking me to come for book distribution program. So I have decided not to go for the treatment and go for book distribution. So this process is almost like a 2 months marathon. That book distribution marathon will be like a 2 months. They have to travel village to village. They have to reach to people to do books and all. So both these Matajis were contact over phone, and every day they were discussing. But in the 2 months period span, her cancer came to a terminal stage. And very soon she passed away from this world. And she was very much affected. What happened to her in the last stage? How she passed away, she wanted to know. So she was always thinking of how Prabhupada would help her. And after a few years, after 25 years, one young Mataji also passed away. So this time she was very inquisitive. What will be the state of the mind of a devotee at the last moment? Because they have dedicated themselves for service of Guru and Krishna. How Guru and Krishna are taking care of them? She was very much inquisitive. She was praying to Prabhupada. So next day morning, she receives a phone call from Vrindavan, some devotee on the other side. She says, do you want to know how that Mataji, your friend, passed away 25 years back? She never communicated to anyone. And she was only praying how to understand the situation. Suddenly she got a call. She said in the last few hours before she passed away, she was asking the devotees there to put kirtan, Prabhupada kirtan. So by hearing Prabhupada kirtan, she left the body in a very peaceful mind, a sound mind, focusing upon Prabhupada's voice. At that particular moment, when she passed away, there was a glass hospital, glass room. On the glass room, there was Prabhupada image, and Prabhupada started speaking to these devotees. If you want to achieve perfection in the process, how this Mataji had achieved, listen to me carefully. And Prabhupada disappeared. So this is the process. By completely focusing upon Prabhupada, that last moment, see, like the whole process is be always hearing to Prabhupada, reading about Prabhupada, understanding about the philosophy, whether we may focus upon deity or not, but Prabhupada, when you concentrate upon Prabhupada, Prabhupada said, I am there to take care of you. What more do we want? This is the perfection of devotional life. Samadhi, complete absorption onto Prabhupada. And he is assuring us he will take us back home, back to God. So this Ashtanga Yoga process, in a way, it will help all of us to completely detach from sense objects and sense perspectives and focus upon the object, Lord Krishna. So more details will be explained in the next verse. Continuous in the Ashtanga Yoga, only 4 or 5 are covered. Another 3, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana and Samadhi are in the next verse. We'll listen in the next verse. We'll stop here. Any questions or doubts? ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की विश्वगुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की निताय गौर